Welcome! I have something special for you today. This beautiful 2022 Tesla Model S Plaid. This is our second 2022 Model S, but it's our first Plaid. Over 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 right around 2 seconds, quarter mile in the 9-second range, around 150 miles an hour. I mean, absolute giant killing performance. And not only is this thing amazing because of its performance, but it's also amazing because of its technology. This one has Tesla's amazing full self-driving capability. So if you're ever curious if your Tesla or a Tesla you're looking at has full self-driving capability, it's fairly straightforward. You look at the software screen and you look for full self-driving capability. Normally it would say autopilot or enhanced autopilot. This will say full self-driving capability. And if they're subscribing to the full self-driving capability, they don't own it, it will have an expiration date. This one was purchased and comes with the vehicle. We've sold many Teslas with full self-driving capability. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood to knock on in here except my head. We've sold dozens of Teslas with full self-driving capability. We've never had a customer lose it in an ownership transfer. We've transferred this to our corporate account. So if I look on my phone, in the eyes of Tesla, we are now the owners of the vehicle. We have it on our ownership. We have it on our account. You can go specs and warranty, and we can see full self-driving capability. So there's a couple ways to know. You can look on the screen there, or you can look at the current owner's spec sheet on their Tesla app, and it will tell them if it has full self-driving capability. And the amazing thing too is this thing has lots of warranty. So the basic warranty is good till January 2026 or 50,000 miles. Then the battery and drive units are covered till January 2030 up to 150,000 miles. So that's the amazing thing about this vehicle, is that you have absolutely giant killing performance, you know, exotic car level acceleration and braking, but you have a full warranty on the powertrain up to 150,000 miles. I don't know if there's any European high performance cars that would give you that type of warranty. And high performance engines, supercharged, turbocharged V8s pumping out big horsepower, those are very complex and they can have issues. Oil leaks, turbos can go bad. They're very complex, lots of moving parts. An electric motor is far simpler. So this is a vehicle that, can smoke just about every other vehicle on the road, but the ownership costs are like a Prius. There's not much to do on these things. I mean, the only thing I guess that would really get you is tires. But basically for maintenance, it's wiper blades. Generally with regenerative braking, brakes last well past 100,000 miles on most EVs, maybe even longer, 150,000 miles. We've never had to do brakes on any Teslas we've had. We've even had Teslas with 100,000+ miles. None of them ever needed brakes. And we've had dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of Teslas over the last couple of years. So obviously, there's so much to talk about in this vehicle. I don't know where to start. So let's just dive into it. So we have the yoke. The yoke is kind of like a polarizing thing. My Tesla doesn't have a yoke. I've driven lots of Teslas with a yoke. It doesn't really bother me. I like the visibility of the yoke. Not the visibility that the yoke provides, because all this space here sometimes is obstructed by the steering wheel, but it's nice and clean and it feels nice. I have no issue, moving the yoke around or driving it. And especially with the full self-driving, the nice thing about the full self-driving, when the car's driving, you don't really need to worry about steering because the car's doing it for you. And where did they get the idea from for having a yoke? Well, it came from like Formula One cars and race cars. They use yoke. So obviously, there is some thinking behind offering a yoke in the vehicle. It's not just because of visibility, but this is kind of mirrors high performance race cars and stuff like that. They use steering yokes as well. But if you don't like it, I think right now Tesla will come and they'll install a regular steering wheel for $700. You can go in the mobile app and order a steering wheel. They'll come in and install one. I don't even think you have to bring it to the dealership. We had a Model 3. It didn't have a yoke obviously, but we had the leather peeling off the steering wheel, so we had them replace it. And for $1,000, a mobile service person came and replaced the steering wheel. And $1,000 for a steering wheel to replace the whole steering wheel is not that bad. I think a non-Tesla vehicle like a BMW or Mercedes, it probably costs a lot more than $1,000 to replace the steering wheel. So that's just a hint to the amazingness of Tesla. It's not a franchise dealer business model. They don't have parts distributors. There's not markup after markup after markup. Tesla's a vertically integrated company, so they tend to be very reasonable as far as parts and service goes. And I can also tell you they're very liberal about warrantying things too as well. I had a Model S that had a rip in the seat, and I was ready to pay $500 to have them replace the seat panel, but they ended up getting it fixed under warranty for me. Unlike a dealership where you have warranty administrators where you have to go and contact the manufacturer and have them approve warranty work, Tesla, they let the warranty approval reside. I think that down to the service department representative who you're working with. They kind of decide on what's warranty or not, based off of some employees I talked to. So Tesla is not as much as isn't as difficult an aspect sometimes as fixing things under warranty. They're very customer service oriented. And so the S is nice. You have this nice beautiful interior. When they redesigned the S, the interior, they brought back the lovely perforated seats. They were gone for a while. You have this big roof panel that allows lots of natural light inside. It's very well tinted. You can get shades to put in this place if it gets too bright out. Then you have this huge, gigantic screen, and it works great too. We have a parking camera, so there's a couple ways to adjust how fast you're going. I think there's a setting where it can actually predict which way you want to go and it'll automatically put it in gear. It's not set up on this one, but you can swipe forward to go forward. You can swipe backwards to go backwards, and you press P to go park. But also, look at this. They have little buttons right here, so you can actually use these buttons right here, put it in park, reverse, neutral, and put the hazard lights on. So that's pretty cool as well. We have a nice wireless charger here. Tesla's infotainment system is amazing. We have a great stereo system. You have these amazing maps. You have Tesla's amazing supercharging network. Fully charged range is pretty close to 400 miles on this Model S Plaid. So, fast charging is not going to be something you're going to have to do that often. You just charge at home. My house is the charging station of my Tesla. I have 220 charging, and I can get a full charge overnight. You plug it in, you wake up the next morning, and it's fully charged. But Tesla has the amazing proprietary supercharging network. So, there's superchargers all over the place. Like, these are all the superchargers just in the Tacoma area. They just even built these new ones at the Tacoma Mall. So they're constantly building supercharging networks. Tesla also has amazing trip planner. For instance, if I wanted to go to San Francisco, it's a long drive. Yeah, there we go. The vehicle will figure out the whole trip for you. Figure out where to charge, how long to charge for. It has your back. It figures it all out for you, and it will consider temperature, elevation, tire pressure, all into accurately predicting how much range you have in the vehicle. So you'll never be left hanging if you use a trip planner. There's no mileage anxiety. You just tell the Tesla where you're going to go, and it figures it out for you. It'll figure out if you have enough juice to make it. If you don't, it'll tell you where to charge and how long to charge for. I don't like to get into pricing too much on these vehicles when I do videos, because we're constantly changing our prices, sometimes on a weekly basis. So if I tell a price right now in this video, it's there forever, where the price could be different a week or a month from now. I can tell you that this 22 Model S Plaid is priced right around the $90,000 price range at the time I'm making this video. But compared to a brand new 2023 with full self-driving capability, same color combination, you're looking at about $125,240 for something comparable that's brand new. And man, I can remember when the Plaid first came out, they were going like $150,000, $160,000 at the auction. So luckily, if you didn't buy a Plaid right away, you wait a little bit, you're going to benefit from a little bit better deal than the people who originally bought one in the used market and weren't lucky enough to get a new one from Tesla. All right, so let's keep this video rolling along, and we'll also do a little demo drive. I want to show you the cool full self-driving capability. All right, so let's pop open the hoods. Absolutely beautiful design. And the funny thing, the Model S design goes all the way back to around 2012 when the first Model S came out. They've updated and improved it, but They definitely kind of kept the same design philosophy, which I don't think is a bad thing, because the Model S is a beautiful vehicle and very efficient. In fact, when the first Model S came out, it had one of the lowest drag coefficients out of any production car, even better than like the Nissan Leaf and the Toyota Prius, which are very aerodynamic vehicles. But we can probably not argue the fact that the Model S is a little bit better looking than a Prius or a Nissan Leaf. And even though it has a sedan profile, it is a liftback, making it a lot more practical. You can fold down those seats for more cargo space. You have a cargo area protector right here. You can see you have the all-season mats. And we also have a little bit more storage under there as well. Nice carbon fiber rear spoiler. We're gonna get this fixed right here, the Plaid logo. I don't know if it's aftermarket or they painted it, but this is another hint to how cool the Tesla service experience is. So if this was any other vehicle by Tesla, I'd probably have to bring it into the dealership, maybe make an appointment, have someone come out and look at this. Not the case with Tesla. You do it all through the app. So here's the app. You go to service. I take a picture of this and then I message Tesla and they ask, hey, is that aftermarket? They ask a few questions and then we have a service appointment. And I'm not taking it to Tesla. A mobile service person is going to come to the dealership and get this Plaid fixed for us. So they're going to either take this off, put a new one on, and it looks like they're not even going to charge me. It looks like they're going to fix it under warranty. Like I said, they're pretty good about fixing stuff under warranty. We can see a little condensation on these tail lamps, and this is a common thing with Teslas. Their tail lamps are not sealed, so they will get it's actually not uncommon for them to get a little bit of moisture. Tesla will replace them under warranty if more than 50% of the lens is obstructed by moisture. So we're not there yet, but that's basically, it's a common issue of Teslas. The condensation can come and go depending, if it's raining or not. We just actually had some rain recently, so that's probably why it's showing, but probably after baking in the sun a little bit, since they're not sealed, that condensation will evaporate out of there. This one just has a regular wheel and tire package with the wheel covers removed. You can put the wheel covers back on. They added the Tesla center caps. I think it looks a little bit better without the wheel covers. There's also the updated arachnid wheels, which this one doesn't have. You can obviously order them or install your own custom wheel and tire package. And Tesla actually just released a track package for the Model S where you can increase the top speed, I think, to over 200 miles per hour. That track package is not cheap. I think it's like $15,000-$20,000, if not more. But I was watching a Model S Plaid in Germany in the Nürburgring, and it was just annihilating pretty much everything with that track package. All right, well, let's get behind the wheel and take this thing for a little spin. All right, here we go. Well, I can tell you, you probably know already, there's an endless amount of content on social media and YouTube about how fast the Model S Plaid is. So, obviously I'm gonna hit the accelerator a little bit when I go for a spin, but I don't feel like losing my license or doing anything illegal. But this thing can very quickly break the speed limit, obviously, over 1,000 horsepower.
Now turn right onto 51st Avenue East.
It's trying to navigate me to San Francisco. I forgot to shut that off. But this thing is actually so fast, people are getting kicked off a lot of drag strips. I think under the NHRA rules, if your vehicle is so fast, if you do the quarter mile, I think under 10 seconds or something like that, over 150 miles an hour, legally to race your car on NHRA racetracks, you need to have like a roll cage and a parachute. So there's a lot of people that are racing their Tesla Plaids at the drag strip. They're racing other vehicles and they're actually letting off the throttle just so they don't go over a certain speed. Some of them can't help it and they are getting kicked off the drag strip. So that's just how insane this thing is as far as speed goes. So you have a drive mode selector here, we have Plaid, and then there's a drag strip mode. Let's see. So I put in drag strip mode, so it's conditioning for peak performance in about 4 minutes. So I can hear it cooling off the batteries, and you can also launch it. So launching the vehicle, this thing is an air suspension, so you basically put your foot in the brake, you mash the throttle all the way, the car's air suspension kind of crouches down, it's like a cheetah stance. Then when you let off the brake, this thing launches you like the hand of God. I mean, it's like literally getting launched off an aircraft carrier and a F-18 fighter jet off a catapult. That's how fast this thing is. And the nice thing too about the Plaid, unlike the earlier performance versions of the Model S, you can consistently, you know, rattle off high-speed runs in like the 10-second range at the drag strip, where some of the earlier Model S's, you could do it, but after a couple times, the battery would overheat and it would hinder performance. So obviously they've really achieved an amazing performance threshold of the Plaid. They have these you know, electric motors that are wrapped in like carbon sleeves. All the cutting edge technology that Tesla has, they've put in the Plaid version of the S and X. And obviously the Plaid S is the performance king because the X is a little bit bigger and heavier. I love these blind spot cameras, and that's just the amazingness of Tesla's over-the-air updates. Every month it seems like we actually just did an update. It took about 50 minutes. Tesla's constantly updating these things, improving the safety, adding features, and Tesla is able to rattle off these updates very fast, where like you know, other manufacturers, they rely on parts distributors. They don't do this stuff in-house. So if they have to do a firmware update, they have to get on the phone and call the parts distributor. I need you to write some new code, you know, for this update we want to do. And they're like, okay, we'll get that for you in a couple months. Where Tesla is vertically integrated, so, you know, the majority of their parts are, you know, produced in-house, not from parts distributors. They have their own in-house coders and stuff, so Tesla can, you know, do these updates on their vehicles a lot faster than everyone else, just the nature of the way, you know, Tesla is organized from a corporate level. It's there's no dealership franchises. It's not a franchise business model like pretty much like everyone else. Tesla dealerships are owned by Tesla. It's all controlled by the manufacturer, and they produce as much parts in-house as possible, so they don't have to rely on a hodgepodge of you know, parts distributors to cobble together a vehicle like everyone else does. And I think obviously people are seeing, you know, how well Tesla's doing with this vertically integrated standpoint, and they're trying to streamline themselves and kind of get to more of a business model like Tesla. And even if, you know, the performance of Teslas are one thing, you know, obviously this thing's ridiculously fast, but even if you don't go fast, just how nice it drives, how quiet it is, in its own point, the technology, the full self-driving and stuff, that's an amazing thing. Whoa, oh geez. Okay. Woo. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And you know, there's no big V8 engine roaring, there's no shift shock. It looks very non-dramatic on camera, but this thing, yeah, it's just the way electric motors deliver, you have over 1,000 horsepower and it's instantaneous. The engine doesn't have to rev, the transmission doesn't have to hunt for gears. You just have instant throttle response as soon as you hit that throttle. It's all too easy to break the speed limit in this thing in a matter of seconds. Yeah, and the acceleration, that is nice. I can't tell you how many times, like in my Tesla, which isn't anywhere near as fast as this, but it's pretty fast compared to most gas cars. If I'm merging on the highway, I can see someone, oh, they're starting to speed up because they don't want me to merge in front of them, or I'm changing lanes and I can see someone speeding up not to let me in because they don't want me to change lanes in front of them. Well, when you're in a Tesla, you just lay on the throttle and you find your spot, you find your hole. They don't have enough time to not let you in with a Tesla because, oh, I see you speeding up. I just hammer on the throttle and they can't even get close to me to cutting me off. So and also, you know, I think the one thing people have an issue with is the yoke. The turn signals are right here. The horn button's very small, it's right there. You have voice commands. Tesla has like 150 different voice commands, so you can put on the defroster, the wiper blades, all with voice commands. You can control the heated seats, so you don't have to mess with the screen while you're driving, like to put on the wipers or the rear defroster. You just give it voice commands. Watch, rear defroster on, And it puts the rear defroster on. Make it warmer. Every time I say make it warmer, it'll raise the temperature by 3 degrees. It'll keep on doing that. Make it cooler. So like I said, I mean, you can ad nauseum find videos on the Model S Plaid about how fast it can accelerate and stuff like that. So I don't really need to, you know, break the speed limit around here to show you how fast this thing is. And really, it's kind of doesn't translate well on camera. You have to be sitting here with me to feel brutal and insane the acceleration is in this thing. But the one thing that I would like to show you that I think they don't talk about quite as much is the amazing full self-driving, which this one has. So let's see where to go. Let's try navigating ourselves to Dave's in Milton. It's close by. Nice little restaurant. Dave's of Milton, 5.3 miles. So I'll put it in my destination, and with the Model S, you just hit that button right there, and that activates full self-driving.
Now turn left to take the Interstate 705 South ramp.
So the yoke, you can see, is highlighted in blue, so that means that full self-driving is activated. The car is driving itself, but it wants me to keep my hand in the wheel and pay attention, because the system is still in beta. It's kind of getting a little bit close to this vehicle, but I'm just going to let it do its thing. I can move this button up and down to control how fast I want the vehicle to go.
500 feet, take the Interstate 5 north exit on the right towards Seattle.
You can see that blue tentacle right there. That's the mind of the Tesla. It's telling me where it's thinking about going. But yeah, it's amazing. I've been using the full self-driving for the past year, and it's become a lot more fluid, a lot more human-like just over the updates. And you know, Tesla has a different approach for the full self-driving versus Waymo and Cruise, where they have these big LiDAR sensors on their cars, and where you know, Waymo and Cruise, they're really relying on coding to solve issues. Where Tesla uses a neural network, where the car's brain, the car's full self-driving computer actually works a lot like our own brain for navigating situation and making decisions. So Tesla headquarters is not beaming instructions to this Model S. It's operating the software. This car is thinking and making decisions on its own. It's almost like a semi-sentient being that's thinking and does have a limited consciousness, deciding, reacting to the world around it. It's not reacting to pre-programmed coding for specific situations, kind of like what Waymo and Cruise does. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can explain it a little bit better than me. And full self-driving is not perfect. It does get confused. Sometimes it will be in the wrong lane. Sometimes it'll do the worst thing at the wrong time. So you always need to keep your hand in the wheel and pay attention. So this is a situation where the vehicle is getting confused. So now it wants to kind of pull out in front of traffic. So I'm going to just help a little bit. I'm hitting the throttle. You can hit the throttle without disengaging full self-driving, just to encourage the vehicle, because sometimes when it's making a right-hand turn, it's going to pull out in front of cars. Sometimes it can be hesitant, so you can kind of just nudge the throttle, be like, it's okay, you're good, you can go. So obviously we're at a stop, you know, and now it realizes it's in the wrong lane and it wants to pull out in front of traffic. It probably would be fine, but I'm just going to get this thing going just because we have cars, you know, going 60, 70 miles an hour behind us. But it was a fairly safe situation. There wasn't anyone really close to us. But like I said, those are situations why Tesla wants you to pay attention with the full self-driving. It is in beta. There's, you know, it's not perfect. But us using full self-driving right now, Tesla is using data from all these cars, hundreds of thousands of cars right now operating full self-driving. It's using that data to improve it and make it better. So it will take this data right now that it's using to make the vehicle better. I'll get an over-the-air update, and then the system will be a little bit better. It'll be a little bit more accurate. And sometimes, as far as like lane changes, it can kind of be a little bit annoying when it changes lanes. Like we have an upcoming turn up here, and it kind of moved over the left-hand lane, which I'd prefer it to be in this lane right here. there it goes. It's going in this right lane right now, so it's doing a pretty good job. And every once in a while, it will give you what you call a nudge. It'll say, hey, put your hand on the wheel, jiggle it a little bit. You can also kind of mess with these buttons. And I'm just showing the car that I'm paying attention, I'm not distracted. If you do not react to the nudge, the full self-driving will shut off. And I think, you know, after 5 times, it's shutting off because you're not, you know, reacting to the nudge. Showing you're paying attention, it can temporarily disable the system, which I think is a good idea.
37 on the right.
All right, so it's getting off at this exit.
South 54th Avenue ramp on the right. In 500 feet, take the South 54th
And it's getting off at this South 54th ramp right here.
on the right.
It's doing a good job so far. Now this is a complex situation right here because it's gonna want to go over like 3 lanes of traffic right here. This is a really tough spot, even for, you know, drivers with human brains, not a computer like this. Uh-oh. But we're fairly clear, so we're gonna kind of just move right over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna take over right here in this situation, just so I'm not obstructing traffic. It probably would be okay, but I don't want to annoy people for the sake of making this video or impede or obstruct traffic. So sometimes in situations just like that, you know, just not to annoy or inconvenience other people, I'll take over where the car might have been fine on its own, just kind of out of an abundance of caution. But we look good right here, so I just kind of took over and just had it get real close to this vehicle, not to block that other lane of traffic. But I'm gonna hit this button and re-engage the full self-driving and see how it does. We're getting close. We're only about 2.1 miles from Dave's in Milton. I love the clean interior design of the Model S and Teslas in general. It's not overly cluttered with knobs and buttons. It's a very peaceful, it's like almost like a sensory deprivation chamber about how quiet it is. It's a very calming place to be. And, you know, some people ridicule Tesla, you know, for not having fixed buttons and knobs, but that's the beauty of it. This thing is infinitely configurable, because a lot of these,
Street East.
sorry, I just want to pay attention here just so we don't annoy people here. Yeah, did a good job. But going back to the majority of the functionality in this screen, since this screen is infinitely configurable, this vehicle, you know, can constantly improve. So even though this car gets older, with Teslas over their updates, it's constantly getting better and improving. Even though my Tesla is a 2019, my screen is not quite as big as this, but the look, the functionality, the features are pretty much identical. I don't have everything, but very identical to a 2023 Tesla because of the over-the-air update. So my 2019 Tesla doesn't feel that obsolete at all. I guess there's a few features that I'd like to have, but honestly, it's very 90% of the screen is similar to what you have on a brand new Tesla. That's kind of like an iPhone. You can have an iPhone that's, you know, 4 or 5 years old, and you can still download the latest version of iOS. You can still, you know, download, you know, most apps and games and stuff, and it will work on it. Obviously, not everything will work. It's pretty much the same deal with a Tesla. And obviously, you know, you really have to be attentive in, you know, situations like this when using the FSD. You know, but on the highway, when there's not a lot of traffic and it's just cruising on the highway, it's really nice. I had to go up to Bellingham to play a gig, or unfortunately I couldn't take my Tesla. I had to take my van to haul the band equipment. But I can tell you, the whole 2+ hour drive, you know, at 12 o'clock after the gig at night, I can't tell you how much I was wishing to have my, you know, Tesla full self-driving, or just the regular autopilot's amazing on that drive. Just the mental energy it takes to keep your car centered in its lane on the highway, just to have that workload taken off you really is an amazing thing. And it's like, you know, I guess if you've never experienced it, it's one thing, but once you experience these amazing advanced driver's assistance systems, or they call them ADAS, it's hard to go back. You know, I often find myself, if I have to run any errands for the dealership, I'm the used car manager. No one's gonna question me if I take a $100,000 Range Rover, or a fancy Audi RS5, or a Q50 Red Sport 400. No one's gonna question me what I take, you know, to run an errand or stuff. I'm the used car manager, but 9 times out of 10, I'm either gonna take my own Tesla, or I'll take one of the store's Teslas with autopilot, especially if I have to drive on the highway.
500 feet, turn left onto Milton Way.
But how much the system's improved in the past year is quite remarkable. If we were doing this drive a year ago in this vehicle of FSD, I probably would have had to do 4 or 5 interventions already, just how far we've driven, just because the vehicle get confused and stuff. But it's improved so much that, you know, it really is a lot smoother. Like, you know, I have a 10-mile drive from my house to work, and like I said, 95% of the time I'm using FSD in my car when I'm driving it. I just navigate to where I want to go and I put the FSD on. Early on, when I first started using the full self-driving in my car, when I first got it, I'd probably have to do 5, 6 interventions on my way to work, or on my way to drop my kids off at the babysitter, just because, you know, the system just wasn't that far along. But a year ago, it was still mind-blowing a year ago how advanced it was, I mean, what it could do. But now, a year later, now, you know, there's quite often where the vehicle will pretty much make the whole drive to the destination without me having to do any interventions, or maybe only 1 or 2, where before it was 5, if not more. And it will continue to improve as the years roll along, eventually till they solve full self-driving, and eventually, you know, it could be get to the point where not only is it as good, but far better, far safer than a human driver. It was a little wonky there, but it figured it out. All right, I was just doing a little braking there, so I'm gonna set the speed limit up to 40. You know, so there's sometimes a little bit of wonkiness. Sometimes the car gets a little confused, but like I said, this is quite amazing just at the level it can do. You know, a car gets an over-the-air update and all of a sudden it's full self-driving. You don't need a $150,000 LiDAR unit on top of it. And, you know, where Waymo and Cruise, those vehicles are in pre-mapped out geocached areas where they map out the whole area and the car has to operate in this geocached area. The full self-driving on Waymo and Cruise won't work outside those areas that were pre-mapped out. Where Tesla full self-driving, you can plop it anywhere in the world with a road and it's going to be able to operate. So Tesla's approach is a lot more ambitious. But the way the software functions, it's based on cameras with vision and a neural network, a lot along the lines the way we work. You know, we have 2 cameras and a neural network in our head to drive cars, and we do a good job with just 2 cameras. This car has cameras all around it. And that's another segue I'd like to talk about, is the amazing camera system. You have the Sentry mode, so when this thing's parked, you can pull up live camera views on your car. You can even pull up an inside view of the vehicle as well now. That was a recent update. And then you have a 360 dash cam. So this car is constantly recording footage all around you, 360. So there's one instance where this guy got pulled over in his Tesla for not having a signal on, but looking on the dash cam, you can see the reflection of his signal and the car in front of him. So obviously he got off that ticket. If you're in a vehicle accident and then people are saying, well, you know, you slammed on your brakes, or you did this or you did that, well, there's no arguing camera footage. So you know, you have everything recorded here. Here's some footage of, we had this weirdo guy in the lot I was trying to kick off, and I eventually had to call the police on him. I'm like, I'm just gonna drive up in my Tesla so I can record him, because I knew I had the dash cam. So I just drove up there to the front of the lot to shoo him away, and I had all the footage, in case things went wrong, I had footage of the whole thing. So yeah, all right, here we are at Dave's in Milton. So the FSD did a good job, you know. All right, it's getting a little confused there.
Now turn left onto Oak Street.
Not perfect, but pretty amazing.
Is on the right.
And you know, that's the thing I tell people about full self-driving, is we have a lot of customers that ask for it, and I don't know if everyone is completely on board for full self-driving, because like you say, you have to pay attention and it's not always relaxing. You kind of have to be kind of a nerd at this point and be okay with it being wonky. You know, but you're also participating by using the software and being in this beta program. You're helping Tesla improve it, so one day they can achieve the goal where it can be so good where you can read a book, take a nap, or the car can be out there robo-taxiing you and making money and working for you. Because you know, when we own a car, 98% of the time you own a car, 98% of the time it's not used, it's parked. We only use a car 2% of the time. So it'd make more sense to, you know, have these cars out there working and being a robo-taxi. So some people won't need to own cars. They can just subscribe to a robo-taxi program. They can call a car and it can pick them up. And people like you that own a car like this, you have a capital good. All of a sudden you have an item out there that can go and make you money, you know, while you're not using it. All right, well, that pretty much sums up the video on the full self-driving. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully it was a little informative to you. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video, and hope to see you soon.